So common, and again, is it a mistake? I call them a productivity pitfall. But one of them, the other name I have for this is called the Quicksand Conundrum. So the quicksand, if you think about Saturday morning cartoons, like back in the day, we won't have to share our ages here, but I was a baby of the 80s. And so we were watching cartoons, and like every Saturday morning, the characters were falling into quicksand. Like this is a big storyline for cartoon characters back in the day. But I see this a lot in offices because we're in quicksand, right? So we're sinking deeper and deeper. We're busy, sinking deeper into this busyness quicksand. And the problem with quicksand is that the harder we try, the deeper we sink into the quicksand. So here's some concepts of things that keep us in quicksand. It's working on tasks that look productive. Like we think we're doing the right thing, but it's the wrong tasks disguised as the right task. So it's like, well, I am updating the PowerPoint presentation and the margins are great. And I spent 3 hours on the fonts and the colors are all just right. So I worked on the presentation for 3 hours. That might be quicksand. Because what we should have been doing is finalizing like the call to action. We should have been asking for the sale. We should have been making sure the talking points were right for that particular audience. But instead we were in quicksand working on the margins and the fonts. Does that concept make sense? It's like the wrong things that look like the right test. So we're like, I'm busy, I'm working on all these things. It's like, yeah, but you weren't working on the right things.
True story. And I love that. I'm glad that you mentioned that too, because sometimes those things, I don't know if it's happened to you, many times when managers are looking for things to put in your performance report, your performance review, oftentimes they sound like pay attention to detail more. Or so you might have even been given feedback that you should be more detail oriented or that kind of thing. Two things there. One, if the details you missed caused consequences for your team or your boss or yourself, financial or your accountability or your reputation or something like that, true story. So that these are valid things to give. However, if you're a manager listening or you're a person who's been given this and the details were that the fonts could have been a little better, then I take that personally as a huge compliment, because if that's what they found, if they're really reaching, if that's what they found as the thing that you need. So I love that if they're pointing out things that are not necessarily productive, not big things, not drive to the bottom line, not customer service, not if that's what it is, then it's like, I agree that it's okay. Don't spend the time on the fonts necessarily. She called it quicksand. And I love that because like, don't fall for the quicksand. I like that a lot.
Yes. And if you're feeling trapped, stuck, tired, exhausted, like you're burning out, my question for you is, are you in quicksand?
Yeah.
Working on potentially the wrong thing. So it's a little bit of an analysis to do, but to really evaluate, like, am I busy all day working on the right things? Or am I busy all day working on the wrong things?
Yes, for sure.
And as a manager, if your team is burning out, if they're coming to you and saying, I'm feeling burned out, I'm feeling overwhelmed, that's an analysis I would do with them. Do that alongside of them. Because they might think, Brian, to your point, oh, you said attention to detail. So here's how back to clarity. Here's how I interpreted this. And as your boss, I'm thinking, no, I wasn't talking about the fonts. So really being clear on what does this mean? So when we say yes, back to that C again, when we say yes to a project, when we say yes to a task, that's the kind of clarity I'm looking for. What is good enough on this project? What does this look like? What does success look like? When you give this to me, what is your expectation of me? What does success look like on this? Then I can deliver. When I'm clear on that, I can deliver. But I don't want to be stuck in the quicksand because we weren't on the same page. We can avoid that. Like there's a lot of wasted effort going on. That's what I'm seeing. So my roundup on my mistakes that I'm bringing to the table here is like a lot of it just comes down to wasted effort.